How we love to be in control. It's just, a fact of life for us. And there's a lot of things that we would like to control, like the weather, for instance. Wouldn't it be nice just to think, well, let's see, today I think I want a temperature of about, what would be a good temperature in the desert? About 75, that would work. In the evening, about 65 during the summer, that'd be nice. Or if we need a little bit of rain, you just dial up some rain, a nice, quiet, peaceful rain, none of this real big downpour. Wouldn't that really be nice if we could have that kind of control? The other thought that crossed my mind was if I really wanted to control something, I'd want to control traffic. Driving every day, it would really be nice, when you're coming up to this red light to be able to just change it to a green light, so just in time so you could just keep on moving. Or if people were blocking one lane, you could just kind of have them all just nicely move over so that you could zip on by. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. Or even people. We just would love to control people and have them be all nice to us, and do what we want and do what we say. Maybe our bodies. Wouldn't you like to control your body? You think you do anyway, but you really don't. Wouldn't that be just wonderful to go and get one of these greasy hamburgers and French fries, and your body would just process that as lean muscle?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
Or you could control all kinds of things in your body. But alas, it doesn't work that way. The weather has a nasty habit of doing all kinds of strange things. I was thinking about growing up in the prairie states. The prairie states have these wonderful little tornadoes that wander through the countryside. They have them in South Dakota. And I've seen too many of them. They're kind of pretty when they're just going across out in the no man's land. But, or in the wintertime, Californians in here probably don't get that much, but back in that country we have a thing called ice, and it collects on the road once in a while. And you can be driving along just minding your own business, and all of a sudden you're going sideways. It's like you lose control very easily. People, I don't think people have ever been really controllable. And then there are the people that try to tell you something, try to control you. So, anyway, it's kind of a battle, even with your own body, that you can't control some things. So we really like to control. We like to do things ourselves. There's a whole channel, DIY, do-it-yourself channel. Although I see heads going, The home and garden channel. They have all these fixer-up things, and we watch the Property Brothers once in a while. And if you haven't watched the Property Brothers, there are these two. They're about 6'6", like this, and they own real estate agencies in Canada and the United States and all kinds. They have a recording company. They have a picture company. They're kind of really on the way anyway. But they do this show where they fix up somebody's house so that they can live in it. And it's always amazing how one of them is really a good designer. And see, he sets this whole beautiful design up, And about halfway through the show, which I know is for drama in the show, but they come and say, well, we want to change this. We don't like this. We want to change this. And then the other thing they do to infuriate the property brothers is bring their own stuff in there. Like they have ordered all these beautiful pieces of furniture, and then these people, well, I want this in there. We want to do it ourselves. So you have that want to be in control and do it yourself, and it's all mixed into this show, which is kind of fascinating. Well, what is the problem with this being in control and doing it ourselves? You know, we should do that. But what happens is we forget about God, that God is in control. And we sometimes just pass over that and think that we are the ones that are in control. That's what the lesson is about today. I love to tell people the feeding of the 5,000 is not really about feeding the 5,000. But Pastor, it talks about bread and fish and feeding all these people and leftovers and all this. Well, yeah, that's there. I call your attention to two sentences. Jesus says to the disciples, you feed them. And the disciples say, well, we don't have enough to do anything. What are they actually saying? They're saying, they're thinking in human terms. We cannot make this work. They are not thinking that God is in control and God can do something spectacular. And indeed, God does do something spectacular. Jesus says, bring the fish and the bread to me. He blesses it, breaks it, gives it to the disciples, and they feed all these people with a whole bunch of leftovers. We fall into that human thinking like the disciples all the time. If we can't do it or control it or something, then we don't even think sometimes that God can make something else happen. We were having a Bible study, the last church out in Ohio, and we were discussing this lesson. We were going to have a barbecue, a whole hog barbecue for the community. We roasted a whole hog and invited everybody in the whole community. Well, we were expecting 200 maybe. And we did have a spiritual element. We actually had people that came, gave us prayers, so we had a prayer service with it. But I said, okay, we're counting on 200 coming. What happens if 5,000 show up? They said, well, let's see, we'd have to go run down to the store and we'd have to go here and there. And I said, you're thinking just like the disciples. You're not thinking that God is in control and God can do something spectacular. So, we go trucking along through our life, handling things very well, kind of in control of everything, and then something else kind of piles into our life. And we think, okay, we can adjust to that. And then something else comes, and then you have a flat tire going down the hill, and all kinds of things start to happen, and you start to feel all that control and do-it-yourself starting to slip away. The disciples, when Jesus said, you feed them. And they looked at what they had. They felt that control and do-it-yourself just slipping away. And God said, surprise, surprise, surprise. Look what I can do. And Jesus fed all those people. You'd think the disciples would have learned when that week of Passion came, where Jesus was arrested and beaten and whipped and put on a cross, and there dies on that cross, is carried to a tomb, and a stone is rolled onto that tomb. The disciples and the women who went there that morning were all thinking the same way. They were thinking in human terms. They were not thinking that God could do something spectacular. And God indeed did do something spectacular. God raised Jesus from the dead. We sometimes get into that mode. Oh my goodness, I can't handle all of this. And we don't even think that God is there to help us. And God kind of taps us on the shoulder and says, listen to me. I'm here with you. I created you. I claimed you. You belong to me. I will love you. I will be with you forever and ever. Give me all your fears, your troubles, your problems. Give them to me. But isn't that where the rub is? We don't like to give something like that over to someone else. We want to hang on to that. We want to hang on to that. We don't think that God can do something spectacular in our lives with all that we have. Remember, Jesus said, when the disciples said, we have bread and fish, Jesus said, give them to me. And the feast began. Amen.